So we just watched Thor: Love and Thunder. How are we feeling?
Pretty
Fine.
I don't know.
Right.
I really don't know.
Okay. Well,
Good. Feel pretty good.
I mean,
Call me critics because I am mixed.
all right. Well, let me go ahead. Well, it's 70s, not that mixed, but
It's in the 60s last time I checked.
really, I thought it was 70.
I'll take
But
a look.
In any case, no, I want to know what you guys' expectations were going into it.
69 on Rotten
That was
Tomatoes
your
as of
expectation
time of
going
recording.
into it?
That's
Interesting.
crazy.
Okay. Wow.
No, that's the critical scores. 69%.
I expected it to be like Ragnarok.
Okay.
So way too heavy with comedy and probably fine.
I was expecting it to be better than Ragnarok because I was thinking, oh, Taika's, kind of evolved as a director. And I've seen some of his other work now. I saw Jojo Rabbit. I've seen Our Flag Means Death, which he's not the sole creator of or even
But he
the
does a
writer.
really good
But he
job,
does a big
yeah.
job.
Yep.
And he can really mix lighthearted comedy with serious drama.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, he can.
Very
can.
good at it.
Yes.
He absolutely
He
can.
knows how to kick you right in the emotional
Yeah.
penis.
I think he did that spectacularly with Jojo Rabbit. I don't think he did it that well at all in Thor Ragnarok. I think
No.
that was more of a
I think
comedy.
that was too much joke.
Just comedy, yes.
I will say it outright now. This is far better balanced than Thor Ragnarok. I like this a lot better.
Yes, it is.
I don't know.
I
Ooh,
think
we have
it's
some
on
division. I think it's much better.
I think I don't have a hard set opinion yet.
Okay.
Because
Understandable.
I was sitting in the theater watching this film, and then suddenly they were in the final fight. I just had this moment to think to myself, I'm like, what the fuck happened in this film?
Okay.
A lot of-
It just kind of goes by really fast, I think.
Yeah.
It's a short film. It's less than 2 hours with credits, which means it's probably
About an
closer
hour
to
45.
an hour 45, maybe an hour 40.
Okay.
That's not very long,
Yeah.
all things considered.
I think they accomplished a lot in their runtime, though.
They did. They
They-
absolutely did. But I think a lot of scenes are very, I don't want to say speed run, but very quick. The editing in this film is very frantic. Characters kind of pop around between shots sometimes. Like when Thor's on the ship with the Guardians and like he's kind of having like this weird moment and then it cuts and he's outside the ship. And
The beginning of the movie is very poorly edited and paced.
it's
Yeah.
there's a lot of pacing issues, I think.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I kind of like the fast action. Not just obviously not just action,
The-
but
the
I like the fast pacing that is delivered here. It's nice to have a nice breathable Marvel movie for once.
Yeah. People just go places and things just kind of happen and there's not a lot of conflict until there's like 3 moments of conflict and like I get that, but they get to a lot of places very unscathed and very uninteresting.
So what really didn't work for me for Ragnarok was that it didn't feel like there was any like heart or emotion to it. It was just
this
like,
movie does a much better job with that.
Absolutely.
I think the inclusion of Jane Foster again is really well done. This might be the best Thor-Jane relationship in all 4 Thors.
I agree.
Absolutely.
It does. I feel like it bogs down the movie a little bit because there should be other interesting things going on besides that.
I disagree. I think it enhanced the movie because her plotline doubles.
Oh, her
and-
plotline's amazing.
and it
Don't get me
does
wrong.
at the end with Gore and what they realize in like the big culmination. You got a lot of like overlapping themes.
Yeah.
with learning to let go.
I
and
think
stuff.
this is one of the better endings to an MCU film, actually.
Yes.
Yes.
I
love that.
I really do believe that. It's got a nice. The hero doesn't just murder the villain.
Yes.
That is how
Or
so
defeat him,
Or
really.
just defeat them. They find a way to solve the problem the
Yes.
villain has. And when Thor does that in the theater, I looked at Ian and I was like, that's so smart.
It's great.
I didn't think of that.
It's great.
I do think
that was my main problem with with Gore's thing. I'm like, wait, he's going to wish that all the gods are dead. Why doesn't he just wish his daughter back to life?
spoilers, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like,
Oh, yeah, it's
th-
worse.
my brain was just like, that should be the first thing
See
you thought
that
of.
that didn't occur to me at all.
The
And I
sword
can see
cursed
why.
him.
I can understand.
It's the same thing why
Also,
Wanda.
the sword was corrupt.
Yeah,
his mind.
It's the same reason why Wanda didn't just like go to another universe.
It's the same reason that Thanos
book
only
was
saw one
corrupting him.
path to save the universe.
Exactly.
He had
Corruption.
infinite power.
I didn't.
you know?
I don't think it was a big deal. But like once Thor suggested that, I was like, oh, that's so clever. And like, it shows that Thor's grown as a character.
Yep.
I think Thor at the beginning of the film, when he's with the Guardians, he's a little uneven.
Yeah.
And I think it has the same problem that Doctor Strange has, where it is established in Doctor Strange the movie that he's kind of like, oh, this girl that I like, but we're not together. And then all of the Endgame shit happens, and he has a cameo in like a couple other films.
Yep.
And then we get back to him, and he's like, oh, I'm just so heartbroken. And in the back of my mind, I know
Yeah.
that we haven't really focused on Doctor Strange, and I know that whenever we have had his POV, it would be weird for him to bring it up.
Yep.
But at the same time, in my brain, I'm like, bro, it's been like 6 years.
Yeah.
Get the
Yeah.
fuck over it.
I will say,
They do it better with Thor because they bring it up in Ragnarok a lot that he's not over it.
I will just say, in terms of Doctor Strange specifically, in those movies between Doctor Strange 1 and 2, Strange only shows up for like important world-ending shit. He's got no time to bitch about.
I know.
Christine.
It's just when like in Strange, they just kept repeating, "Are you happy, Stephen Strange? Are you happy?" And in my mind, I hate to say it, but in my back of my mind, I was like, I don't give a fuck about this guy's love life. The script
Is bad.
There's a couple scenes in this where I think the script needed another pass because they're just like, we need to get the characters from point A to point B, and there's just like blah blah blah, you know, and I'm like, I don't know if that really holds together.
There's also a couple of really bad lines of dialogue in this movie.
There really are, like when
Sif, oh, I need to die in battle on the battlefield in battle. Fuck.
I thought she was like one of the Asgardian actors.
Yeah.
Who, like, are bad on
really
purpose.
not good delivery.
And then he's
Really
just like,
not
well, the
good
battle's technically over. And she's like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
I'm
lot
like,
of it's that either attempt at comedy there or it just didn't.
It's an attempt at comedy by being over dramatic.
Yeah.
And it just comes off as weird.
I didn't mind that scene at all. It was so brief, and I don't know.
No, there's a couple of lines of
It's
dialogue
just
I'm
more
not a huge fan of
the
here.
example we're using to point out, like, some lines of dialogue
Sure.
are just like kind of just like you're like
Very
janky.
wonky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wonky. It's just like, okay,
yeah,
that was a
didn't really
choice.
take me out of it. But I really did enjoy, like Joken was saying, the pace. I like
Oh my God,
the
I fucking
brevity.
hated it.
Yeah.
No, I loved it.
I'm the exact.
I think this
I'm-
film could have been longer.
No,
Sure.
no.
I
yes.
wouldn't.
Give it
I
a little
wouldn't have
more
minded
breathing
that.
room.
Yep.
Give it a little more breathing room with certain scenes.
have more things in between. We get Jane going to the hammer. I don't think Jane should have been included until the reveal.
until she popped up.
I would have liked that a lot better.
Nah, I think. It's
Then you
fine
would have
the way it
flashed
works.
back harder, and you already
No,
flashed
because you
back
can just
hard.
move the scenes that we already had to being flashbacks.
That's
No, or-
flashbacking way harder.
That's not flashbacking.
That's
way harder.
taking
It's just-
scenes
it's
and
just
making them
taking the
flashbacks.
scenes
I
and
also
making,
think-
Yeah.
that's not
No,
flashbacking.
I
harder.
think you
So,
need to
okay,
do it
okay.
this way.
What I'm describing.
I'd rather-
allow me to
no, I-
articulate my position. There are plenty of flashbacks in this film. You are proposing to take scenes that are not and then make them even more flashbacks.
I'd rather have that as a flashback than have a whole flashback explaining how Thor and Jane broke up when we've already been told they broke up 3 times in 4
Yeah,
separate
I'll
movies.
the
take
Michael
that.
Pena
I'll
court
take
scenes are
that
bad.
in 2 minutes than taking like 10 minutes of scenes and making them all flashbacks.
I also think you need to do it this way because it's been a while since you've seen Jane in a movie. Thor: The
I
Dark
think
World
it would-
came out in 2014.
Yeah.
I think it would have
It's
more,
been 8 years.
It's been 9 years.
Okay. Yeah.
Even better.
So
Because it
even
came out in
yeah,
2013.
oh, okay. Well, either way, it's been so fucking long
And
since
that's
we've been
absolutely
seeing this
fair.
character on screen. Just to have them pop up randomly and then fill us with exposition, I don't think it works that well.
I just don't like the pacing for the first hour of this film. It's too quick.
See, I
She
really
just
do
goes
like that. Though.
She goes up to the hammer. Then the next time we see her, she's Thor, and you're like, okay.
The
where?
way- okay, so
And we
They
get
explained it
Korg-
pretty well, though.
Korg Michael Pena explaining a bunch of stuff.
the
sucks.
way the way you're seeing it is like it actively. It's a mess. The way I'm seeing it is it just cuts away the fat and it gives me what I want out of this fucking movie.
I think it cut away too much.
I think it cut away meat. Too.
Nah,
I
I
think
think
I
it's
think
fine.
Yeah.
like he's like, oh, there's Sif, and it's like, okay, and then she's like, oh, Gore the God Butcher, and it's like,
They never.
okay,
She comes back at the end to train one kid once.
yeah.
Like I would have.
I was
just,
not
like,
tuning into Thor 4 for Sif action here. I don't give a shit.
I'm not talking about Sif
Yeah.
specifically. I'm saying like they just kind of, okay, then we get Sif, then we go back to town, and then immediately Gore shows up,
Yeah.
and also Natalie Portman's there. But I feel like it's just all very rushed.
It's the first hour of this movie is really rushed, and then the third act takes a long
And
time.
then they go to Zeus, and I don't know if that scene added, like that whole side quest added anything.
It expanded on like the concept of what the gods are and what they care
no,
about.
see
which is-
that they only fucking did that so they can have more spoilers. They could have Zeus come back later to now take revenge on superheroes.
They didn't
That's
only-
the
They
whole-
did- they
it's
did-
the fucking Doctor Strange Illuminati bullshit.
They
again.
did kind of fucking attempt to murder Zeus.
They should have just
they
straight
should've
up
just killed
murdered
him.
Zeus.
That would have been sick. And then Hercules could have wanted revenge for his father instead of
Sure.
instructing him.
Yeah, but then you'd have a morally compromised hero.
Oh my god.
Yeah, morally compromised heroes are.
You
more
already
interesting.
have a morally compromised god that was talking about sacrificing humans.
Yes.
So like it already makes sense to completely murk him.
I wish they
it
leaned
worked
a little
better
bit
that
more
way.
into that in
Also,
that
it has
scene.
the
Yeah.
exact same setup as the beginning of Guardians 2 with the Sovereign.
Mm.
Right
yeah,
down to the fucking
yeah, I thought
golden
about the
throne.
same thing.
Yeah.
Too.
I
Yeah.
wonder if we're gonna get the Dark Avengers.
Yeah,
Ooh.
we'll
Because
probably.
that's what they've been building up to.
Yeah, probably.
Dark Avengers.
But
It's just
I don't dislike the scene in Omnipotent City or whatever it's called.
you got it perfectly.
Oh, great.
Actually,
Because it does expand more on the gods being awful, terrible people, but they also played it for way too much of a joke.
this movie has really, like, in Taika style, really weirdly, deeply philosophical
Yes.
conversations about, like, godhood and, like, having worshippers, and, like, the fact that every god we are presented is an asshole and does not care about the people who worship them.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I like, it's weird because, like, at the beginning of the film, Gore meets his god and the guy's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
And then Zeus is also like, fuck off.
Yep.
And I'm just sitting there going, like, is Taika trying to say something?
I
He's
like
trying
that.
He's trying to say something.
I liked it.
I don't think it's Taika
I
being like, oh, I believe in this or not. I think it's
No.
more establishing Gore and his intentions, so you as an audience member go like, oh wow, the villain. Okay, I see where you're coming
I
from.
mean,
Really?
I
Yeah.
think it also does go into that metaphysical, stupid fucking buzzword. It does go into that conversation of worship, even like superhero worship. How when
Yeah.
you get presented with celebrity worship, superhero
And they
worship, shit
also-
like that. Like I think it does talk about that.
They draw a parallel between Gore and Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
Her character. They draw a parallel between
They
Gore
do.
and Jane because they
Yeah.
are both sustaining themselves off of godly power, but it's only temporary.
Right.
And I think this movie, again, the reason I wish it was a little longer is because I think it needed a little more time to make a final statement about this kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Can I say
you know?
that I would not mind this movie being longer to add what you're talking about?
Yeah.
But I think where we disagree is that I like what we got as is.
I don't know if I like it or not. You
I
know, I'm
like
still,
it just
Okay.
fine.
I'm sitting here going, I just watched this movie. I'm still sorting out how I feel about it because, like I said, once we got to the final fight, like my brain was like, have I really been sitting here for like over an hour? It felt like we were maybe 40, 50 minutes in.
With my experience with this movie, I just kept thinking back to like, I love that first Thor. Nobody
Yes.
else likes that first. Ian likes that first.
The
Thor.
first
We-
Thor's the
okay.
best
These guys
Thor
are
movie.
fucking
No.
insane.
Still is.
We're gonna me, Jake, and Ian all really like the first Thor movie.
First Thor
It is
bumps.
under fucking rated.
Underrated, baby. Let's
No,
go.
it is just
Joke one
it
doesn't
is
like
just
it, he's
straight up
incorrect.
bad.
So, yeah,
You guys, on the other hand,
is Dimitri.
you guys on the other hand think that fucking Ragnarok is not a good movie.
I think it's
You
fine.
think
I
it is
think
a
it's
fine
fine.
movie. You two,
It's a 6 out of 10. That's a fine film.
you two are far more critical of it. It is
It's because it's
no
bad
longer-
We are all
sometimes.
the exact
you know
same
what?
level of credit.
But I will
Yeah.
say, it's no longer the best Thor movie.
You're right. Thor 1 still is.
Yeah, I
No,
still
it
think
never was
Thor's-
the best Thor movie.
Oh,
never
it was.
Yeah, where's that Spider-Man fucking Star-Lord? Is Thor 3 still the best Thor movie? It never was.
Oh, it was. Oh, it absolutely was. But this one is the best Thor movie.
I get the mixed response from critics.
I
because
really understand.
I'm also
I-
kind of just sitting here going, the hell did I just watch? Not in like a bad way, just in kind of like a confused way.
Nah,
I-
I think the critical response is just because of like Marvel fatigue.
No, it's not. The
I
script
think
isn't
it's-
very good.
I mean,
The
there's
script
still,
is pretty
you can
decent.
still go with
No.
It's good for MCU.
The script is
standards.
fucking
the
terrible.
script is
Nah,
really bad.
you guys are crazy.
my
I'm
biggest,
really not, because that's what literally every critic is saying.
That's what
Yeah.
most people are saying too.
yeah.
I don't
I'm
know.
seeing scathing things about this movie, and
I'm
not
seeing more
scathing.
mixed. I'm seeing more mixed, but one of the things a lot of people are pointing out is the story.
The
is
script's
script.
just not very
Which
good.
is the same criticism I have with Doctor Strange.
So-
the script's just.
I think Strange is a lot better than this.
All right. So one thing before we get to our like out of tens.
Well, I
Have
haven't
you
even
guys-
talked positively about it.
Well,
I have
I got a
positives.
question for you. I got
Yeah.
a question for you. Have you guys noticed that like in the Phase 4 has just been the theme of loss for all this shit? Even the Disney Plus shows have just been everybody just losing something.
I mean, yeah, that's
Like-
good.
So
Yeah, but,
two
like,
big
it's-
themes then. Loss, it's not a theme, but multiverse would be the thing that's not a theme. But those two elements are in almost all of Phase 4 so far.
Pretty much.
So,
I haven't. To be fair, I haven't seen Shang-Chi. I haven't seen Eternals.
I
no, there's
feel
some
like-
there's some grief. I mean, no, Shang-Chi is about grief.
Right.
Yes.
The
Yeah, no,
Joker's
grief
onto
and loss-
something.
the
That is
whole
fucking-
Phase 4 is just about loss. Spider-Man
Loss,
fucking loses his
But
friends.
with the
and,
plot
like-
element of multiverse, so that makes me think that they're heading into we're gonna solve loss with multiverse, baby.
I don't think so
Yeah.
because
That sounds
every
terrible.
time
does.
every time that characters have been presented with loss in these series, the ultimate answer is, for as powerful as you are, there are things you can't control.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Wanda had to accept it, Shang-Chi had to accept it, Spider-Man had to accept it,
Yep.
Thor had to accept it, Doctor Strange. No one at any point has beaten their loss with the multiverse.
Yeah.
I don't think that's where they're going at all. I think that they're trying to show that
they
like,
have not yet. Is what I'll
Hell,
say
even
to that.
smaller examples like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's getting over the loss of your friend.
Yeah.
Or in Loki, it's getting over how like
Although
he's
that's
constantly
less
lost.
so. I'll say this: that's less so them purposely choosing that, and more so it's right after Endgame. Everybody died. You know, that's a big deal.
You don't
Nobody
make it.
died.
You don't
What
make
are you
a
talking
show
about?
about
That's
Captain
true.
America's friends without showing them grieving after he dies.
Yeah.
That's the whole. That's the whole
But
point of the show.
more to
Is
your
getting
point,
over him.
I think it would be a real fucking big regression if everyone got over their loss. Oh, cop out.
Oh,
their
I
multiverse.
super agree. I
But
super
If
agree.
that happened,
given
I'd
that-
actually give the movie a 0.
Given
so.
that the Phase 4 has been going on for 3 years now,
Still doesn't really have a direction.
still doesn't have a direction. That's a different criticism. But given that every time that someone has lost somebody, the answer has simply been, you have to
Get
deal
the
with
fuck
this.
over it.
Losing.
I don't think they're going to do that at the end. I think that would be a major cheap cop out, especially because Phase 4 is almost over.
Yep. And I will
There's
say
4
this
films left.
is like the whole Phase 4 doesn't have a direction thing. You are absolutely correct. I think that good movies make you not care. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
Well,
Like,
it would help if all of them were really, really, really good.
Yeah,
No,
see,
see,
I
it's the-
care
if-
deeply.
That's fair.
To be fair, Jake, it's now it's kind of like the DCEU problem where that shit was directionless and
Although
aimless, and that
DCEU's
actively took away. Those movies weren't good, but that also actively took away because why even care about this whole franchise?
Well, because I
if
still have
nothing
faith-
is getting let up.
I'll say the difference. I have faith that Marvel's going somewhere. We don't know where, but they going somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I
I-
think if you're setting it up over 10 movies, maybe 6 in, you should have something.
Yeah,
they got
6 in, 5 TV shows.
They've purposely not announced an Avengers for Phase 4, so that's obviously on the horizon.
I mean, Feige
somewhere.
has also said that there's an announcement for Phase 5 on the horizon.
Oh yeah.
But maybe don't pack in all of your fucking like teaser shit for the last 4 films. Granted, okay, Eternals had something and Strange had something else. Those are 2 separate things.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, Shang-Chi had something. There's no through narrative.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
far as I know, all these things are separate. You know, what's going on with Shang-Chi's rings, what's going on with the Eternals, and what's going on with Stephen Strange all seem like separate fucking things.
Sure, but think back to Phase 1. Cap's shit was different than Thor's, different than Iron Man's, different than Hulk's.
Thor is finally the character that Thor should have been 3 films ago. Thor should have been this character in
Okay.
Ragnarok.
So you're absolutely right. So
He actually grieves properly.
Yes.
He doesn't care about his dad. He doesn't
So-
care about his sister. He doesn't care about anything. And he's a stupid fucking bumbling moron idiot. And they do none of that well in Infinity War or Endgame, really, because he's
no,
just fat.
they
and
did it well in
the-
Infinity War.
I
Not
They did it
Endgame.
well in Endgame.
I think the mix of playing his depression fat for comedy takes a lot away from the message.
I
they were
like
trying
what
to
they
make.
were trying to go for, but
it's muddled.
It's muddled
Heavily
a
muddled.
lot by the humor.
This movie, Thor, is a complex, intelligent, feeling character. He's not funny and stupid the whole time. He understands what's going on. He grips with his emotions and he's dealing with his emotions. This is what the character should be. I love this version of Thor. If this version of Thor was in Ragnarok, Ragnarok would actually be like an 8 or a 9.
It would be awesome.
Fucking miracle.
Can I just
this
say-
movie's script is so bad and the Thor is so good.
Somewhere close to the start of this review, I said that this was like the first Thor, but combining my favorite elements of Ragnarok. One of the reasons why is because, okay, so the character of Thor is awesome, just like what you said.
Yes.
So the
He's
first
pretty
Thor,
complex in the first Thor.
Yes.
yeah. So the first Thor, he has an amazing arc that looks like the through narrative of the movie is him learning how to wield the hammer and stuff like getting worthy and stuff like that.
Yes.
Thor 2. Thor 3, their
Thor 3.
solution, the solution to that is to change the character completely. But at the end of the day, there's no arc at all. Still, he's still just a bumbling idiot. This one has the best of both. It
Yes.
takes the serious nature of the first Thor, but also has that little comedic element.
And
to it.
I think sometimes in this movie, the little funny, in quotes, ramblings, they're annoying, but it's not his whole character the whole time.
I think there's
He does the over rambling when he's in Omnipotent City. He does a little bit of over rambling with the speeches while he's leaving Asgard and with the kids, whatever.
I
That's
think
like
there's
3
one really egregious one with the kids. The first time he contacts the kids, and I'm pretty sure like he does not reassure them of anything, and I'm pretty sure he like says something like, "You'll probably not die," and it's like, dude,
Yeah.
you are not fucking helping.
See, but that's very much Thor. I'm talking about like him bumbling and rambling and like the oh well and then they like do 7 extra lines of not funny.
Yeah,
and you're like,
no,
all right,
but like but in those scenes, I still think Thor has grown and changed
Yes.
enough in the previous films that when he contacts the kids for the first time, I'd like for him to maybe have his head a little on straighter. You know, I get that your fucking ex-girlfriend's there or whatever, and you're thrown off by that, but like,
That's
these kids
fair.
are afraid. Just reassure them. Don't go.
Yeah.
You'll probably not die. The fuck's wrong with you?
He does better the second time when he
Yeah.
does it.
Yes, he does.
Absolutely.
And I like that he does better the second
It's not like a big fucking like, oh fucking. I'm just saying like that scene. I was like,
I get that.
dude,
I get that.
come on.
But the
I-
character of Thor in this movie is exactly what Thor needs to be and where Thor needs to be two
Yes.
movies ago.
Exactly.
Or like 2 cycles. Because Infinity War Endgame's 1 movie of development.
I get what you're
basically.
saying.
Like, he needed to be this, almost this, 2 movies ago. And that's
think-
why I don't like Ragnarok.
I think
This movie, the movie is worse and Thor is better.
I think this movie is what everybody, like, to me anyway, thought Ragnarok was. And it's like, no, the Ragnarok, like, really leaned into the dumb, like the comedic and
Oh, this
no
movie
heart.
leans into the dumb.
This movie has plenty of dumb. Big fan of some of the dumb. But it also has that heavy-hitting emotion, like Jojo Rabbit, Taika's, like, greatest work, I would say.
I would also call Jojo Rabbit Taika's best. so
It's
far.
not even close, yeah. I've seen a couple more of his films, I think. Like, I've seen What We Do in the Shadows, you know.
Yeah.
I've watched a little bit of the show as well.
This is, honestly, if the next few Thors are all like this, I'm okay. I'm
I
much
would
better
like
with this than I would be with Ragnarok.
I would
forever.
like the script to be better. As tight. Because Ragnarok, I think the script of that movie, besides the funny, dumb, jokey stuff,
See, but I
it's
think-
paced better. I like the plot more. And if they had the emotional payoff with it, it would have been infinitely better than this
See,
movie.
but I think this movie has the emotional payoff.
This movie does have the emotional payoff, but what it's lacking is great, like, any good dialogue for the first hour,
I disagree with that.
the
but
pacing for the first hour, and even the last part. It's way too fast at the beginning. They just get places. They don't really expand on anything. And then in the last part of the movie, it's very slow.
I don't think the first half is this like pile of shit though. Like
I really don't like
everything
the
with
first
Jane and her cancer development. I really anticipated them making it a stupid joke, but they actually did
How
a
do you
really.
make that a joke?
I know that's what I was afraid of, but they made it like this compelling story, and I was really invested.
I really like the
I
part
was-
where Jane explained wormholes.
Yes, where she did it just like every movie that explains wormholes with the
Yes.
paper. That
Yep.
was great.
And you know what the best part is? Literally doesn't fucking matter.
No, but it's a nice little scene that introduced you to her. 'Cause that's the first scene you see of her.
Yeah,
in it.
I know. I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
But,
like,
um,
it's not relevant to the film at all, which I
Not-
find
not
funny.
terribly.
Because you'd think, like, oh, wormholes, that might come up. No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I liked it as is. But no, with Jane in that regard, I really liked how they handled it. If this was Ragnarok handling it, she'd like, oh, I dropped my potato. I'm making up a joke. But like they'd be like, every like line, there'd be like a new stupid thing you're supposed to laugh at. And it's like, that's not how
This movie does have
build.
less funny. That being said, most of the funny is still not funny. It's still 50-50 for me.
I didn't like. I don't know how we're gonna fall on this one. This might be a real big argument. I didn't like how they strongly imply that Thor's weapons are sentient.
Yeah, I didn't really.
I
really
don't
fuck with
mind that.
It seemed like they were conveniently sentient because it was being moody for Thor, and then Gore takes Stormbreaker and just fucking uses it.
Well, I mean, it's not like the weapon can choose not to be wielded. You know, it might have some level of influence.
Aren't
but-
both of those weapons worthy weapons?
Not
No,
Stormbreaker,
not
but
Stormbreaker.
Stormbreaker
Not-
also
okay.
fucking spat him out of the Bifrost in a really
It
stupid
has some
place.
level. Some level.
No, it straight up did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also it wasn't strong enough to do that. So that was the reason why.
Strong enough to do what?
It needed the boat to do the thing.
It's
No,
it was
that's
'cause it-
because it was being temperamental. They needed the boat.
Yeah.
Not the other way around.
But
He
She
literally was like, Stormbreaker, what are you doing?
But she said flat out, "Oh, Stormbreaker's not strong enough to do that." That she didn't say Stormbreaker chose not to because it's a movie.
the
bitch.
movie strongly implies that Stormbreaker is
but
being
the
a
movie
bitch.
Being a bitch,
says
yeah.
that Stormbreaker isn't strong enough to do that. So I go with what it says over what it implied.
I don't like the weird weapon love triangle that they tried to do.
Okay.
That's kind of weird.
I don't mind
it
it.
ties into the actual love triangle. I think it's fine.
What love triangle?
Not love triangle, but the awkwardness between Thor and Jane.
Yeah.
That was really well done,
Yes,
in my opinion.
that's-
Oh yeah,
That's
that
really-
felt
tell you this
realistic
because
as hell.
I
That-
liked that Jane and Thor are bitter exes.
Yes, and you know what? That has such power and emotional weight because of the first Thor.
Yes.
Boom, boom, baby, I'm in there.
And Thor 2.
Not
Dark
really.
World, the most important MCU film.
It is one of the more important ones. Very
Appar-
funnily.
Now,
But
Wasn't-
Kevin Feige did that on purpose,
he
but
did. He did. He did.
I don't know. I just felt like
I feel
they
like they're-
implied that Stormbreaker had a lot of like
sass.
awareness of what was going on, and then
Yeah.
it being the crux of like the final thing. I'm like, Shouldn't Stormbreaker be resisting or something? I don't know. I don't know how intelligent the weapon is. Also, it's never done this before.
I don't mind it. Also, we only saw Stormbreaker like in one movie, so
We've seen it in 2.
Sure, because it was in that for like
Not even
15
Thor
minutes.
movies, mind you.
Yeah.
True.
like,
fair.
No.
But it
Thor's
still
not
feels
gonna
like
get time to develop his.
it still
relationship
feels
with
like
his weapons.
maybe
Yeah.
when he was like super depressed, he would have been talking to Stormbreaker. I don't know.
true.
I just
Well,
'Cause he
you know
talks
what's
to-
funny,
he
Mud?
talked to Mjolnir a lot.
When
Yeah.
when Daryl showed up, right?
yeah, the fucking Team Daryl guy.
But in those little shorts that they did, they had Thor talking to Mjolnir.
Yeah.
like they had situations like that.
I mean, Thor talks to Mjolnir very.
right? I'm
happens.
just saying. So it's not like that's. I don't know. I,
I mean,
don't
there-
find it. It's
there's
not
another-
completely out of the blue.
to circle back, there's another example of the film implying something and the film saying something and them being at odds with each other, which is Thor tells Mjolnir to look after Jane, implying that he's put like because it shows
It
Odin's
does show the
symbol.
symbol.
It does.
Yep.
But
Yep.
then they keep talking about how Natalie Portman's worthy, and I'm like,
No,
is it that
she's
she's
not.
worthy, or is it that Mjolnir's protecting her?
I think it's not an either or. I think it's a yes and.
It can be both. It's
Yeah.
just like one of those interesting things where I'm like, huh, like they're kind of contradicting themselves.
I don't think it's a
So
contradiction.
so then the question becomes: did Mjolnir rebuild itself because it's worthy, or did Mjolnir rebuild itself because
I think it knew
needed to
Jane
protect-
was in trouble, and I also think that because I mean, to be fair, she would probably be fucking worthy. Let's not kid ourselves here.
Yeah.
Probably.
What?
She was worthy since the start of Thor 1.
Yeah,
Thor
she
wasn't
was
even worthy.
worthy. If she was worthy of Thor's hammer, she's worthy of Mjolnir.
Yeah, she's
If
more
any-
worthy than Thor was in the first Thor.
Yeah, fucking
Yeah.
Till the end,
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's just there are some times where the film kind of like kind of implies.
I don't
that.
like that his eyebrows weren't blonde in this one. Now
No,
Yeah, if we really want to be as good as the first Thor, we need
Yeah,
those
that's
blonde
why.
eyebrows.
Baby, let's go.
we should have done it.
All
like
right,
The
I want to
Witcher.
do two things. I want to get her
Head.
out of 10s because we've been going a long time. We got
Yeah,
it.
I think I've said my piece.
Okay, so I want to get her out of 10s first. Then I want to do something else that's really fun. So let's
boy.
first start with that. Who wants to start?
I do not. I don't have a number.
guys, you know what? I'll just say it because I know I probably got the hottest fucking
0.
take here. It is tied with the best Phase 4 movie, No Way Home. It is a
Wow.
It is. I'm sitting between an 8 or a 9. I rewatched Spider-Man. I watched it a couple
Spider-Man's
times.
infinitely better.
I watched it a couple times. Spider-Man. The more I watch it, the more I'm starting to see cracks in it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like
That's
Thor's
true of any
hammer.
MCU film.
I will okay, well, before I say my
So
score, I
I'm
do wanna-
gonna go like I'll say 8.5 for now.
In terms of cracks, I'm gonna reserve judgment until a big ensemble movie. If the ensemble movie doesn't have a direction, it's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing with the ensemble movie? Though?
I agree.
But I'll reserve judgment until they culminate it, and I'll see how they do. But you said 9. I am so not in agreement with that. That is a 7 out of 10. It is
Say 8.5, by the way.
Oh, sorry. 7 out of 10. It is substantially better than Ragnarok's. Not as good as the first Thor. Wildly better than Dark World.
My thing about this movie is I really like what they did with Thor, which was my biggest criticism of the last one. My gripe with this movie is I really think the script is weak and it needed another Passover. I think Taika Waititi writing and directing this movie, co-writing and directing this movie, because there was another writer whose name escapes me.
It was I can't remember. Her name
I don't
either.
remember her name.
Thank
Kathleen
you.
something.
Thank you, Joaquin.
But I think maybe he shouldn't have written, honestly, or he should have written solo, or I don't know. I think either write it or direct it. I think he had a little bit too much control in it.
Did you say your score?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I'm giving you the preamble.
Building
to
up.
the
Got it.
story.
Got it.
I'm guessing
Like Phase 4.
For me, I like a lot of the fights in this movie. I didn't really get
Mm-hmm.
to talk about that. Like,
Oh my god,
They're really fun.
Oh, there's
some
some
of the most
banging fights
creative.
in this film.
Some of the most creative fights in the MCU.
yes.
I really like the final fight.
the black and white area fight.
Yes!
is awesome.
Absolutely.
I love the black and
goes-
white
and the-
the spots of color.
Yep.
Yep, I really like
Yep.
that.
So good.
I like the
Visually-
final fight with the kids.
Visually,
That was
Oh,
good
yeah.
too. That was
I
great.
think this movie's good. There are a couple weird little green screen effects here and there, but that's par for the course for Marvel. at this
Yeah, I
point.
couldn't notice. I'll be honest.
I noticed a couple, like when him and Chris Pratt are talking, like it's very obviously Compton.
Whenever there's a shot of somebody like waist up,
Uh-huh.
staring in the middle of the camera, almost always
Super
green screen.
Compton,
It's
yeah.
so obvious. the
but
lighting just never matches.
I think
Fair enough. Fair enough.
for my gripes with this movie and for my gripes with Ragnarok, they're both 6s. This movie is also a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
That being said, what they do with the character is like a 10 out of 10. I like that
Fair.
Thor is where he's at. It's just, I think the movie, if you blend Thor 3 and Thor 4 together, you probably have the best Thor movie.
I would say this feels like a blend of Thor 1 and 3, which is why I like it so much. But Mud.
I have a lot of confidence in Taika Waititi. He's
Okay.
really shown that he is a strong writer. I am convinced that somewhere along the line, the scenes that I think this film needed were shot
Oh yeah.
and exist,
Mm-hmm.
and were probably just cut. And I don't know why, because I can't fathom why this film is less than 2 hours.
Me either.
I'm not saying it needs to be like 240.
I think
but like a solid
220.
210, 215.
Yeah.
Just a few more minutes, just a couple extra breathing room scenes.
Make it so it doesn't feel like it just jumps from place to place to place to place with no rhythm.
kind of calm down that speed running. I also think that this film suffers from the fact that I'm pretty sure Guardians 3 was originally supposed to come out first.
It was.
Yes.
You gotta remember that this whole fucking timeline is fucked up. Spider-Man is supposed to come out after Strange.
Yeah, that's
I know.
true too.
That's weird, right?
That's why her character can do multiverse stuff. She was supposed to show up and do that in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
weird. But I do think that's another thing is like the Guardians feel like they're kind of like ushered out of the film. I think maybe we were supposed to see more Thor Guardians stuff in Guardians 3. Doesn't matter.
So
Wouldn't
Mud,
it have
are
been so cool
I'm-
to have the Guardians help with gore?
Nah.
not really.
What the fuck
guys
would they
with
have
guns?
done?
What the hell are they gonna?
Yeah, what
I
the
was gonna ask actually, Mud. Did you want to abstain or do you?
No,
feel
I have a
confident?
number now. I'm just kind of building up to it. You
Okay,
know?
okay.
Really could have used more of Bale's gore. Fucking amazing as
Yes.
always. Christian
Yes,
Bale.
I
Excellent
think-
villain.
I feel like he's not in the movie enough, but he is excellent.
Oh
I
my
would
God.
say he's the best Phase 4 villain, but that's actually the Green Goblin.
Yeah, that's true.
Agree.
Second best.
Tied.
For now, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
Hey, Chief.
I
you're in
think
there.
I think it's passable.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I don't think it's a bad film.
No.
You know,
No,
it's
I
not
don't
Thor
think it's a
2.
bad film.
It's not egregious in any
It's not
way.
Black
It's
Widow.
just
At
I'm
least-
sitting here kind of thinking to myself, I'm like, damn, that movie, it feels like it goes by too fast to really drive its impact in. Because
Yeah.
like I was saying, there's kind of some stuff in here about like, you know, God's role in like the world and like why God lets bad things happen. There's some stuff in here about, you know, what am I trying to say? Seeking power when you're struggling, you know,
Right.
grief. There's stuff in here about grief,
Yep.
and it's good. I just feel like if it had just a few more minutes, just one or two more scenes, or just extend a couple of those scenes, just give them a little more talking,
Yeah.
just a little more dialogue.
Yeah.
I think it really could have fucking nailed it.
having a little bit of extra fleshing out and maybe a little bit less awkward funny would have gone a long way.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Well,
I'm going with a 7 because I think it's rewatchable. You know, at the
Okay.
very least, it's short as shit.
Joquin, you thinking this is as good as Spider-Man? Sorry, you're not invited to the orgy.
I'm surprised that
The
after
fuck I
flicking off
wanna-
the clothes that he didn't re-invite him to the orgy with
Dude,
just that
I
figure.
really
No,
wish
Zeus
we'd-
was jealous.
All right, I'm gonna say it.
I'd fuck Thor.
wanna
I
see
really wish Chris
cock.
Hemsworth's cock was in this film.
Oh my
all of us, all at
I'm
once.
gonna say it. I'm saying it.
I
wish
wish-
his cock was in
that
this film.
that
wish
will add a
Zeus-
point.
That would
Cock-
add
that
a.
would add a point.
Hemsworth over here.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see Korgs.
Korg does not. No, they
No, a big-
they very
Actually, we now know how the mating process.
Yeah,
for this
they
species goes.
make it very
I
clear they
fucking
do
love
not-
how his god though was on a throne of scissors.
that was funny. As
It was
shit.
really
'cause Rock
fucking
defeats
funny.
scissors.
because that was the
There
joke with
are-
him.
Yeah, there was no
Funny
joke in
lines.
Ragnarok.
Him-
There's a lot of callbacks that I like in
Him
this
calling her Jane Fonda and Jodie Foster
Yep.
both made me laugh.
That was great.
Those were both good
That was
jokes.
great.
But
Game.
no,
It's funny.
yeah, no, they go over how Korg's people reproduce. They don't
It's
have
so
they
funny.
don't have sexual organs. They just
Uh-huh.
hold hands.
They hold hands in lava.
And they're
It's
all
beautiful.
dudes. It's
I'm
like-
so happy about
like
that.
Namekians.
But no, so let's the fun thing that I want to do to wrap up the
Namekians.
review because it's gone on a super long time. I'm
Orgy.
hungry. Besides the orgy, that's definitely gonna
Are
happen
we
off
ranking the
recording.
Thor movies?
Yeah, Thor 1, Thor 4, Thor 3, Thor 2.
I agree.
Yes.
All right, you guys perfectly agree.
All right, Thor 4,
Wrong.
Thor 3,
Wrong.
Thor 1,
Wrong.
Third Tour.
Wrong.
That part's right,
Right.
actually.
No, Thor
2 is
2
right.
being bad
Wrong,
is right.
wrong. Thor: The Dark World's actually the best one. My name's Ian Mello.
Wow, Ian, I didn't know you changed opinion so starkly.
Dang,
And
Joker likes
tone of
Black
voice.
Widow.
It's so important.
All right, guys.
Hi, Kevin Feige. How are you?
No.
We'll check you guys out next time for whatever the next one is.
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Nope. Baby, let's go.